Hello, everyone. My name is Akosua Castleberry, the Brand Authority publisher, and I am coming to you guys today to talk about or to react to my husband's article, Trevor Castleberry, who is also the founding CEO of Castleberry.com. And I'm going to be reacting to his article. He is a negotiation expert, and the articles that he writes are on LinkedIn. He publishes his articles on LinkedIn. So I'm going to be reacting to them. I'm going to pull up the article, read it out loud, and react to them, and replying to how it applies to me, the information that he gives, how it applies to me, how I use it, how I can use it in the future, as a stay-at-home wife and mother, as well as publisher if it applies. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Let me see. I have to figure out how to share a screen. Oh, here it is. Perfect. Okay. And we're live. Okay, let's start at the tippy top. Oh, that's a nice picture. All right, so the article title is How to Negotiate Salary. Step one, gain the leverage to walk away. All right, there we have Trevor Castleberry, data analyst, project manager, and author. Okay, so in 2022, he says in 2022, I've been asked for more career advancement advice than ever before. Most of the questions were from people looking to make significant career changes, specifically to become a project manager or data analyst. Ironically, this is not how any of those conversations started. They all started with different versions of the same question. How do I negotiate a salary? My reasoning for publishing this article is I am not a YouTuber, and publishing another book doesn't allow me to give direct feedback to you and other readers. I'm gonna pause right here because I was so let me get into how I'm about to apply this to myself. So before I became a stay-at-home wife and mother, I worked at an engineering firm downtown Manhattan as a um, as a lead office admin. And when I got my salary offer, I did not negotiate at all. I didn't know how. And I wish I had this information back then to be able to have negotiated. But now that I'm in a different industry, completely different industry, and my work experience is in a different field, what I do now, the way I have to negotiate is really, really important. And a lot of these gems, I'm going to see how I can apply them to, my real life and myself. All right, let me keep reading. So he says, today's lesson is the one of many that I've published between articles, books, videos, and interviews. If you've ever asked how to negotiate for a higher salary, consider reading this article in its entirety, which we will. It was written for employees who feel underpaid and the rest of y'all too. All right, that's actually a Chris Emdin reference to his book. Um, oh gosh, I read that book. It's titled For White Folks Who Teach in the Hood and the Rest of Y'all Too. So he's basically showing homage with that little sentence there. All right, so he says, whenever I see and or hear someone ask how to negotiate for a salary, I come to the same conclusion. You haven't gained enough leverage to negotiate a salary. It also tells me that you likely don't understand how to gain or use leverage to negotiate a salary. First, I recommend you watch my video breakdown on the definition of leverage. There are 4 steps to gaining leverage in every negotiation. The first and most important step is to be willing to walk away without a deal. I like that. Okay, you can find steps 2 to 4 in my video breakdown of the 4 negotiation mistakes keeping you underpaid and undervalued. Okay, there are also 3 points of leverage that allow you to walk away without a deal. Number one, he says, be a valued employee. Number two, receive job offers from other employees. And number three, build an established network with access to possible employers. All right. So honestly, none of this really applies to me like right now in my life right now. So I have a publishing company, and it is, well, I have a publishing company that offers ghostwriting services. That's the primary service that we offer. Um, And so being a value employee for me is giving my clients a finished product that is edited well. The storyline is straight, the chapters, everything is edited well and proofread. Receiving job offers from other employers, build an established network with access to possible employers. How would I mean, if I was in the job market right now, I would be looking for a job, similar to what I do now in publishing. So there's so many different avenues to go in with publishing. And with the company, I've had to touch every single one. But working for a different, if I was to work for a publishing company outside of my own, then I would definitely go for editing, copy editing, copywriting, editing manuscripts, um, and just bringing value to the manuscripts, actually making them come to life. Receive job offers from other employers. Obviously, I would fish around my resume to different publishing companies, not just one, and definitely not just the most popular ones like Simon and Schuster, Penguin, Random House. Um, what else? Macmillan. What else? What else? What else? Those are the ones that come to my mind right away. And build an established network with access to possible employers. LinkedIn is a really, really great way to do that. I find out of all of the social media platforms, building an established network with access to possible employers, LinkedIn is a good source to do that. Um, even though I don't work for any other publishing companies, I do follow them, and I do actively work on establishing networks with people who are in that industry, outside of just editorial. That could be marketing, that could be sales, that could be um, distribution, that could be what else? Um, that could be analytics, that could be anything. There's a lot of different categories within publishing, and I don't like to limit myself to just one part, because there's so many different parts outside of just the actual editorial part. All right, moving on. He says, being a valued employee does not allow you to leverage the loss of a valuable employee. Being a valued employee does not allow you to leverage the loss of a valuable employee. Valued employees leverage the hardships that their team and or managers will face if management allows them to leave. This was proven to me every time I left the company, and my managers immediately list the time, effort, and inefficiency that would be needed to replace me. Never convince yourself that you can't be replaced. I 100% agree. Let me write that down because I want to come back to that, because that's a great point. Never convince yourself that you can't be replaced. All right, let me finish the rest of the paragraph. He says, never convince yourself that you can't be replaced. It's beneficial to use your job description and documentation of your tasks to prove your worth as an employee. but both of those will be used to train an employee or employees to adequately replace your production. So a little story time about, you know, being in the corporate world. So I graduated college in 2015, and I went right into the job market, into the open job market, and I found myself temping. So I was a part of, or I was with like two different temp agencies, and I was able to get experience over the course of a year doing a lot of different jobs. And there was one job in particular that was downtown Manhattan. I was a receptionist, and they changed the title from receptionist officially to front desk coordinator. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Um, and I worked for a pharmaceutical advertising agency as a receptionist. And I was there for maybe 4 months, 4 to 6 months, and the company got bought out. They got bought out by a bigger company, so they had to merge. And within that merge, they let a good amount of people go, and I was one of them. So I'm sharing that story just to show that you can always be replaced, and you should never convince yourself that you cannot be replaced, because they already, they got rid of me. They had to move offices and downsize, and they were already receptionists within that company that took my place. Um, and I didn't even write down my KPIs. I didn't write down my job description or document the tasks to prove my worth as an employee. Something that I don't recommend that you do. I recommend that you do what Trevor is telling you. Don't do what I did. Do what Trevor is telling you in this article, which is document your tasks to prove your worth as an employee, document your KPIs, monthly, weekly, whatever works for you, just so for you and yourself to also see the work that you put out. And you can also, represent yourself if that question ever gets asked on what you, do for the company, and you have that written and labeled out. All right. Um, but that's not even the only time that I got let go. So in 2016, I got a job as a engineering as a office administrator for an engineering firm in downtown Manhattan. And I was there for a year. I got let go while I was pregnant with my daughter, Madison. I was 5 months pregnant, and I got let go. And it was definitely a trying, traumatizing experience for me. And I didn't document my tasks or my KPIs. Even when I had my 6 month review, I didn't bring nothing to show, what I did. I was sitting there in a meeting without any thing to cover myself or back myself up to show my worth and my growth within the company. And again, I don't think that you should do what I did. I think you should do what Trevor is telling you to do in this article. And it's so crazy. It didn't take me until getting fired and starting my company to actually track my KPIs and document every task that I do, everything that I do to show, hey, I've helped 12 people publish books. Here are the pictures of these books. I hire editors. I have a team. Here's my list of books, and these are all the things that are required. I have, this ghostwriting experience. It takes me this amount of time to ghostwrite a book, this amount of time to get it edited, proofread, and final, and then get it in a final manuscript form. I have a graphic design team who, pushes out amazing book covers for us. Just all of those things. I didn't do that for myself prior to starting my publishing company. And I also do the same thing as a mom, as a stay-at-home mom, and a homeschooling mom, right? So I have my tasks. I want to see improvement, right? I'm teaching my daughter all of her educational skills, her math, her English, her reading, her science. I like to make sure that I have my books, I have my documentation. All right, today we did math for this amount of time. I notices that she likes addition. I need to incorporate subtraction. Oh, okay. So she can answer 5 questions before she loses attention. Okay, now we're gonna try to push for 8. All of those small intricate details. And this has nothing to do with, jobs, but I do apply it in my own personal life as a stay-at-home mom, as a homeschool mom, so that I'm on top of, okay, is there growth within, this homeschooling process? So that's just a little tidbit for you guys. And we're going to get back into the article. Okay. Receiving job offers from the employers is the second step because if you are not a valued employee, your team will welcome your resignation and put in no effort to keep you. As a valued employee, you must earn at least 2 other job offers. When you present just one offer from another company, it could give your current employer incentive to offer you a raise in salary, compensation, in salary or compensation package. Excuse me. It could also convince your current employer that you are ready to leave the company and incentivize them to look for your replacement. I've been in both positions where my employer went beyond the pay scale to match my new offer, and when my employer simply congratulated me on the new job since they assumed it was an offer I wanted to accept. All right. The only way to maximize this point of leverage is to secure job offers from multiple companies. In my experience, it keeps the opportunity open for all the employers to match or counter the best offer. I've been in a position where I accepted an offer before I received 2 better offers from other companies. I informed company A about the new offers from company B and C, which were 25% higher in wage. In the email, I confirmed the rate of the other 2 offers and told them I would be deciding between company B and C. This prompted company A to counter with an offer that included a slightly greater wage than the other 2 offers, as well as career advancement assistance. It is likely that if I only had one additional offer that was 25% greater than company A's offer, they would have talked themselves out of the negotiation. Securing multiple offers gives you the ability to counter offer without being perceived as greedy, indecisive, or disloyal. Never be ashamed to negotiate for a better offer. Okay, so again, my experience is as a stay at home, as a wife and a mother, homeschooler, um, and with publishing, my negotiations are a little bit different since I'm the one having to uh I'm the employer, or you could say when my clients come to me, I'm on a different end. Like I'm not the one going to be interviewed. But what this paragraph did spark in my mind is when so my daughter, she is 5 years old now. And when she was 2 years old, I believe, right? Almost three. Um, she was 2, yeah, she had a seizure. And I had never experienced anything like that before in my life. And I was just distraught and overwhelmed, confused. And, my husband and I, we had each other to lean on. We had a hospital that we went to. Um, they told us that it was this specific kind of seizure. And my husband and I were so confused because um, with the seizure, the term, what was the term? A febrile seizure, I believe. And febrile seizures are incurred when a fever is involved. But Madison did not have a fever, not 1 ounce of a fever. I woke up that morning We went to brush our teeth, and I'm telling you, we're brushing our teeth, and I look and I see my baby fall on her butt out of nowhere, just fall right on her butt. Not, it was nothing there. She didn't trip. She didn't slip on water, nothing. She falls on her butt and she starts to have a seizure. And I'm just like panicking. I mean, I was just like, what is happening to my baby? So, anyway, it wasn't due to a fever. And we were just like, why do they keep saying that? Like, why do they keep saying that? And it was just like, you know what? All right, let's just let them do what they're doing. The doctor, one of the doctors described it as, she had a brain crash and overload. She had like, you know, 2, 3 more seizures after that, which just, we were an emotional wreck. Um, because, that brought up the conversation of epilepsy and if that's something that we're gonna have to look into with her. So we get prescribed medication. I had to go on a follow-up appointment with her, with a doctor who did not take care of her while she was in the hospital, didn't see her while she was in the hospital. A random person who never met her just looked at her chart and gave a specific amount of medicine for her to take. And the medicine had side effects that we were really concerned about. And so the high amount that he prescribed, we weren't very comfortable with it because of the side effects that come with it and the long-term effects that can last if you are repeatedly using this medication. So I spoke with my husband and, I said, I think we should get a second opinion. And he was like, yeah, I think you're right. Even spoke with my mother-in-law and she said, I think you guys should get a second opinion. So I found another hospital that does neurology, with kids specifically. So they're one of the best in the country. I spoke with the doctor. I got an appointment. He met her and he looked at the dosage because at the hospital, it was a much smaller dosage. But once she was actually released to come home and then there was a follow-up appointment, this doctor who was not there with her in the hospital, never saw her before, upped the doses by 2 times as much. And that's what threw us off because it's like, how are we at the hospital and she's okay with this dosage, right? It's keeping the seizure at bay, and you are comfortable enough to release us to go home with her. But now she has to, it's double. And then as the days go on, triple the amount of the medication. So I get to the second opinion at the second hospital, and he confirmed a lot of the concerns that we had with the medication dosage and with the label or the description that they use to describe the seizure. And I'm repeatedly saying she did not have a fever. She did not have a fever. And this second doctor is just like, that's interesting. I don't know why they did that. And running us through, had you come to us, these are the things we would have done, but it's already in the past. So he's like, moving forward, you and your husband, weren't off with sharing that concern on the dosage. It is a high amount. And he asked, how has she been doing with the dosage that, because we just decided, no, let's stick to what they gave us at the hospital. That's what we decided. And he said, how was she doing with that since that's the decision you guys made? And they have like an emergency medication if it lasts for over an extended amount of time, and we never had to use that, thank God. So he asked us, did you ever have to use it? And we're like, nope, never had to use that. She hasn't had any issues, and we've been keeping it at this dose. So he said, she is like, it's months past because this is now this is in the pandemic. So all of us are impacted with our appointments and being able to see doctors. Some of us had to see doctors virtually, some for the kids too, right? The telehealth, the virtual visits. So it's all overwhelming. Um, and so he's like, I'm glad to see that she hasn't had any episodes. And he's like, I'll be honest, the dose that she's at now, she's she's grown since, this last happened. So the dosage, we can't say that it's still effective. It just seems like, okay, maybe the seizures have subsided, like it's gone, because at the size that she is and the weight that she is, she at this current moment she will require a higher dosage than what you and your husband were comfortable with giving her. So I'm like, okay, I understand, thank you. He was saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have another follow-up, and if things are good and she still doesn't have any seizures, then I'm going to clear you guys within our system, translate it to the hospital that you were at before, to say you don't even need the medication anymore. And if anything changes, just come back. But he said he did want to do just one more brain scan on her to see if there's any patterns that may have not been detected. So, I was comfortable with that. Talked to my husband. We were both, on the same page, comfortable with that. And, I think it was like a month later, we had to go back to the hospital this one more time, the second hospital, for them to, do a neurology exam on her, do some scans to see if there is anything that we should be looking out for post the seizures. So, we were in the hospital, stayed overnight. She got her scan, and there was no, unnormal activity. Everything was good. And I was just happy, I was like, thank you, thank God, right? And everything looked good, and she was able to get discharged and go home. But yes, I just said all that to say, having a second and third counter offers, or just opinion, I think is absolutely, I like that. I agree with that, that's a great advice. And yeah, that is how I'm planning it to myself, as a homeschool mom, as a wife, as a mother, because we negotiate in these situations as well. I think the reason why Trevor and I, well, the reason why I want to react to these articles is so that you get a perspective that's different from that corporate, competitive, um, life, or just world, where I negotiate in my day-to-day life as well, as a wife and a mom and a homeschooler. And those are the ways that I do it in my real life. So yeah, okay. Moving on, and I hope that was helpful, but that's what sparked in my head. Um, so yeah, in the last sentence, he says, never be ashamed to negotiate for a better offer. And for us, it was, let's see if we can find a better hospital, or, better advice or different advice, to help us understand, because what we were being told wasn't, we didn't understand it. And so for us to have gotten a second opinion and got confirmation that the questions and concerns that we had were valid, that was crucial. That was important. Okay. Next paragraph. Okay, Trevor says, building an established network is the last point of leverage to being willing to walk away without a deal. An established professional network is your main source of opportunities. What makes this point of leverage the weakest of the three is that it isn't impactful during negotiations, without being coupled with the other two. Valued employees are competitive to hire because they must be pulled away from their current employer. Prospective employees with multiple offers, even while unemployed, are competitive to hire because they must be pulled away from their existing offers. An unemployed job candidate with no income or job offers, excuse me, as an unemployed job candidate with no income or job offers, you'll face two challenges. Employers will make less competitive offers, and you will be less willing to negotiate your salary. You're much more likely to accept the first offer that is above the minimum of your desired salary range, and reject anything lower without even countering the offer or offers. An established professional network would help you avoid accepting an offer out of desperation by providing you access to more opportunities. That's a great one. So I know the fear that I have um, is just my value within the job market. I've been able to create my own value um, with my publishing company. I'm a co-author, um, or excuse me, with my publishing company, the Brand Authority Publisher. And the one thing that I do have concerns about, or that I think about, is okay. Well, what would it look like if I get back on the job market? What is my value? What salary range can I expect? And with the publishing industry, the salary ranges are so vast. Um, but I feel like I have a lot more value. Um, that I'll be looking to negotiate something that actually is suitable for me and my family and my lifestyle. So, all right, moving on. I've personally received low offers as a valued employee with no existing offers or established network. I've accepted a job offer just a few hours after accepting one from another company. I've seen companies alter their hiring process to bring me on board. I've met employees hired by a subcontractor until the prime contractor had the budget allocated to hire the employee directly. All these events occurred due to applicants having the will to walk away from a job offer during salary negotiations. If these are possible after the first step of gaining leverage, imagine what you could achieve after completing all four steps. So I think the biggest and I'll read this question. There's one more question with most time. But the biggest thing for me would just be having the confidence now to negotiate what I'm worth, when before I did not have the confidence at all. And I felt like whatever they gave me is what I deserved. And I have so much more experience and I've gained so much more confidence within myself and what I bring to the table, that I'm not afraid to walk away, nor am I afraid to ask for what I believe I deserve, and to back up why I deserve it with actual proof and documentation and KPIs. So I think this was a great article. He ends it with, what's the biggest thing that stops you from walking away from a bad deal? Oh man, I'm gonna have to speak from this like in hindsight, right? Um, but what kept me from walking away from a bad deal was not having any other offers. When I got that job as a receptionist, I didn't have any other offers, but I did start looking. I didn't start looking, for more jobs until after I got let go. When I worked as a office admin at an engineering firm, I didn't have any other offers. That was my biggest offer that I got. I applied to a lot of jobs, but I didn't come to the table with already having an offer on the table to be able to negotiate my salary. So that those were the things that stopped me from being able to walk away from a bad deal. Because after post firing or termination, I definitely did feel underpaid and overworked. All right, so that's the end of this article, guys. And I will be uh, reviewing, he has three more articles. Yeah, I believe, and I will be doing a reaction video to those as well. Let me go ahead and unshare. How do I stop sharing? Oh, there it is. Okay. So I will be reacting to his other articles. If you found this video helpful and useful, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.